Yev having Flash, Wolfer Avenger having Flash, you're able to play with the counter magic available in Syncopate and Dissipate, which Jeff does have here. And if something does slide through the cracks, Is It Charm, Searing Spear can take care of it. So it's an interesting deck. It's a deck I've given a spin online. Not a bad deck either. And he is 6-0 with it. So his baby doing well.
And on the other side, we see Michael Nyberg playing red-green aggro. Fairly significant departure in this list is all the copies of Hellrider have been moved to the sideboard.
You see Strangler-Geist in there over it.
Yeah.
Okay. You see a Searing Spear take care of that Arb Elf, and Jeff's going to just pass the turn back. Again, this looks like Michael has moved towards the, again, Ross Merriam School of Magic with your Domries, with your Bonfires. Actually, he has Mortars over Bonfire. Okay. Yep. He's got Thundermaws and Silverhearts. Poor Hunt Match the Fells. Not good enough anymore.
I feel like with Silverheart moved in and no Bonfires, maybe he's trying to have a little bit more game against control decks, generally speaking.
So you're going to see a Gyre Sage here from Michael, which Jeff's going to draw an Is It Charm for the turn. You see a Mortars in his hand. There's a Sulphur Falls, and he's going to pass the turn back.
So we'll see how explosive of a turn Michael can have here. I mean, he certainly has, for example, Burning Tree Emissary into Domri Rad is an option.
He has Slithoof in his hand as well right now, so definitely looks like he's got a pretty good hand. He might be able to play all those spells in one turn, right? Here is your here's your Burning Tree Emissary, so that's going to evolve the Gyre Sage as long as he doesn't forget. Get a die over there, Michael. Please get a die, Michael. Okay, there we go.
So we're going to Is It Charm the Sage with the Evolve trigger on. Still got some mana floating. I would have a difficult time turning down landing Domri Rad here. And that's where we're going to go.
Planeswalker in. And we're going to tick it up. Let's take a look what we can see here off the top. We'll get a white die out there for you guys at home. Let you know that it is up to 4 counters. Reveal, Thundermaw Hellkite to the grip.
Not bad. Not a bad one.
Not bad at all. As Michael's going to pass the turn back. If Thundermaw Hellkite draws are not bad for me, I'm trying to figure out what's good.
Borbogamos.
Oh, okay.
Get it good.
That's what'll keep you happy?
Good.
Gotcha.
That one's powerful.
Jeff's going to play a Steam Vents and just pass the turn back. See his hand. He has a Syncopate over there, Mizium Mortars, a Think Twice. Would you be happy with Avalanche Rider?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. That gets the blood going?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You see Michael's hand over that Thundermaw Hellkite. Does have a Stomping Ground in his hand. Wolfir, Silverheart, and a Flinthoof Boar. Looks like the turn's not going to begin with Domri ticking up just yet. Maybe Michael knows what he's up against. Have seen Jeff's deck before. You're going to see a Flinthoof Boar start off the turn here for Michael. It looks like that's going to be good to go.
I think if we have a Avenger in our hand, then we almost certainly let the board come in.
Yeah. Michael very hesitant here. With good reason, I think, as we're going to see Domri scooch on up. Yep. What you got? Not a land, looks like a mountain to me.
Yep.
Just going to pass the turn back. Wolfir Avenger. So it's pretty clear he knows what he's up against.
Yes.
A lot of people walk into that trick when playing against Jeff.
Although it still doesn't answer the question of why he wouldn't have turned on his... Oh, he doesn't... He has a Stomping Ground, right?
Yeah. You're surprised he didn't turn on the board and try to get in there?
Yeah, there's really no reason not to.
Sure. Now Jeff is going to go after Domri now with the 3/3 Wolfir Avenger. Regeneration says that this stack is perfectly safe. The question is Michael comfortable with that moving down to 2 counters?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you signed up for $10 grab number 8, your event is now ready for
I
you.
can't imagine
Please make your way to the
blocking
side
here
of the
seems
stage.
getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let that go.
And with Jeff's hand of Syncopate, Think Twice, and Mizium Mortars, we'll see if he's going to make a move on his main phase here, if he's just comfortable with how things are currently looking, wants to leave Syncopate up, maybe leave Think Twice up as well, get a little deeper into his deck, or if he wants to pull the trigger on a Mortars to kill the boar, which he does want to do. Just pass the turn back.
Yeah, I guess the plan here is to Syncopate anything large enough that can block the Avenger.
Yeah.
And otherwise just keep attacking Domri.
Yep. So the mountain is drawn there for Michael. So he can't cast either one of these 5 mana spells, Wolfir, Silverheart, or Thundermaw Hellkite. I think he's got this idea that it's probably going to run into a counterspell, so which one do I want to have get countered here? Which one's more important in this matchup, the Silverheart or the Thunderball?
Probably more inclined to let my Silverheart get countered when Avenger's in play.
Oh, there's a Thunderball to lead with, and Syncopate for 1's going to exile that from the game. And now the tough part is, yeah, do I want to let Emissary come in? Because remember, he's not activated that Domri yet, so I think his turn probably should have began by activating Domri to see, you know, maybe if it influences his turn or not. And Gorkline Rampager would have probably influenced his decisions.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of poor sequencing there by Michael. If you're going to activate that, if you're going to activate Domri, you want to start your turn off with activating that and work with good information.
And assuming that we were trying to play around a counterspell with that sequence, I believe that we should have led with the Silverheart, because Jeff at any time can just go back on defense with a regenerator.
Yeah.
The flyer is just more important in general.
As Jeff does finish off the Domri, draws a Syncopate first turn, so Syncopate think twice of the cards in his hand. Michael over there with a Wolf for Silverheart, with a Gorkline Rampager, and a Stomping Ground to go along with a Rootbound Crag. So it's going to start with an attack here for 2 from the Emissary. Jeff at the ready to counter any annoying spell. It's going to be a Gorkline Rampager. See if he's going to fight over this. He is. Syncopate for 3 is going to counter that. Exile the Rampager from the game. Now Wolf here Avenger trying to hold the fort down. The Chef does draw a land. Going to start his turn off with a Think Twice. That is going to be 1 card at a time. There we go. What is that draw?
I think it's a land.
All right, so in for 3. Let's just pass the turn back. So now Michael, we'll see if he pulls the trigger. As he does draw a Thunderbolt Hellkite, so he's casting one. Yeah, he's casting one of these things. Right now, if you're Michael, your concern is probably Snapcaster Mage on something, but you know that he has the 2 Syncopates down there, so there's nothing he can actually counter because you can afford to pay the 1.
Yeah, it's Syncopate on Is It Charm to kill the Emissary, were he to try to pair, I guess is the most reasonable thing to be concerned about.
So here comes Wolf for Silverheart. The big bad wolf is going to bond up with the Emissary. It's going to make that a 6/6. Silverheart standing tall as an 8/8. Michael's going to play at Stomping Ground and pass the turn back. So this is the tough situation here for Jeff Stack, because now he's got to switch to a defensive role. Wolf Avenger has to just slow way down. He's going to play Hinterland Harbor and pass the turn back.
And especially since so many of Jeff's defensive measures are damage-based, Silverheart's especially devastating.
So now we do see an Arbor Elf drawn there from Michael, along with a Thundermaw Hellkite that he drew from the previous turn. You see him tapping 5 mana relatively quickly here. All systems go. Here comes Mr. Thundermaw. And let's get all those guys in there as well.
Okay.
And yep, that is it. Those guys are too big. I can't even overload mortars to take care of those things.
No, none of them die.
No. So Jeff Hoogland going to be down a game here. Michael Nyberg up a game with Green Red Aggro over Rug Flash. Take a look at Jeff's sideboard here. Again, damage-based spells, not really the soup of the day when you're playing a Thundermaw Hellkite and Wolffair Avenger. Makes it very difficult to win. So we'll see if he needs anything to fix that. You see a sideboard of 2 Pillar Flame, 2 Light Trickery, 2 Is It Static Caster, a Ground Seal, 2 Counterflux, 4 Clones, and a Curse of Echoes. 2 Counterflux is certainly a good place to start. I guess the interesting card here is Clone and how good they can be.
Michael's got a bunch of awesome dudes. You got some clones. It's like, if it's not in here for this kind of matchup, I don't know what you're doing with it.
Yeah, I think, ideally Clone is for your Angel Serenities. We've seen that be the trump in those matchups, but it's certainly difficult to be able to kill a Wolf or a Silverheart and kill a Thundermaw Hellkite from Jeff's deck, so how about not one of your own?
Sure.
I think that's a reasonable plan, actually.
And on the other side here, we have 2 copies of Zealous Conscripts. They seem very reasonable here.
Yank.
His 4 copies of Hellrider, probably not at their best against a deck with Wolffair Avenger and potentially other things in that space. So he still might want to leave that one on the bench. He has another Thundermaw he can bring in, and the rest of his sideboard is pretty much non-starters. So,
taking a look at Michael's main deck, what do you think you sideboard out for those conscripts and probably that Hellkite as well? As I agree with you, the Hellrider probably shouldn't come in. Do you really like mortars in this matchup? It seems kind of meh.
I would probably want to get rid of Flinthoof Boar, because it is the creature that lines up the most poorly with Wolfear Avenger.
Okay.
That's probably what my instinct would be.
So you like having mortars in?
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be an expectation that there's going to be just more creatures in his deck than just Avenger, right?
Sure.
You know, it's not like he just has 4 random Adventures in his otherwise creatureless deck. Reasonable to anticipate something like Master of the Fells or whatever. If you play these red-green lands. So, they were not, based on the cards that we saw in the first game, obviously there's not a ton of targets that you would see, but I think that I'd probably rather get rid of the boar first, particularly on the draw.
Okay. All right, well, we'll see how both players do opt to sideboard here, as they are already done doing that. You see the old shuffle-uplius for both players, as we do want to thank you guys at home for watching. We're over 6,000 viewers right now. Send some tweets out. Call some friends. Dial the rotary phone if you still got one of those.
We're also 2 for 2 so far on players in the feature match wearing scarves playing Snapcaster Mage. So that is a tell. I mean, I could have, it's not a tell insofar as I could have actually just told you that based on the way that people who wear scarves indoors generally are. But now you know this for your tournaments going forward. So guys playing Scarf probably has a Hallowfound in his deck. Pretty safe bet.
So do you work for ESPN Stats and Info? Do you just
no, but I could.
Just useless sources of information?
That's actually useful.
Oh, what is that?
In contrast to ESPN Stats and Information, what I gave you was actually practical and useful.
Okay, good to know.
And based on real analytics, also in contrast to ESPN Stats and Info.
Good to know, good to know. Appreciate that.
Humans are predictable creatures.
Yes.
It's just the way the world works.
So we do appreciate over 6,000 of you guys tuning in. It was very nice of you. Again, feel free to interact with us at SCG Live, hashtag SCGMKE for your tweets. I got my computer up over here. I've got my phone. Patrick doesn't believe in Twitter. So I'll take care of his tweets for you guys as well. The people want you on Twitter.
I know.
I want you to know that. Are you holding out just because the people want you on there?
I would be lying if I said that wasn't influencing me at all.
Okay, all right. I appreciate the truth in the booth.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a stomping ground here from Jeff, and he's going to pass the turn back. Stomping ground on tap from Michael. I think we're going to see an Arbor Elf to start the show. And we are.
Awesome start. Threatens a lot of very good turn 2 plays. And also importantly for the red-green aggro deck, whose mana is not best at times, means he has both colors of mana.
And as this game does progress, a quick update for you guys at home, for those of you who do care about some of the faces in the crowd. Matt Hoey, Sam Black, Rob Vaca, and 2 more currently at 6-0. Joe Bernal, who is very good at somehow getting draws in tournaments. He's X-0-1. And we're going to see a foot here from Michael Nyberg.
Okay, so we left in some boars.
Untap this here, stomping ground. Vroom. Dead. Bacon.
Not a horrible trade for Michael.
No, I think he's happy.
That's okay.
I think both sides are happy.
Yeah.
We can move along here. Michael going to take a draw step. See if he's able to push some more of these big threats out here. Maybe a Core Clan Rampager if he has one. You see a Domri Raid in his hand.
Ooh, that's a Singleton Gruul Guildgate. This is a man who is concerned about his mana. I like it.
You untap this. Here's Domri.
And
there's a Syncopate. All right, so Jeff trading 1 for 1 a bunch here. And there's a Hinterland Harbor and pass the turn back. So let's see if he has a Yeva or Wolfear Avenger here. Michael going to draw a card.
Another Mortars. Not great.
Yeah, this was my concern, is that his Mortars targets, while they do exist, it's just kind of meh. I feel like he can get clogged up a little bit here. Can get his creatures eaten by flash things. So like, is Michael going to attack here with this Arbor Elf? Is he going to trade that? All right, so Jeff's happy to take 1. No fear Yeva this time.
That's a gutsy attack with a bunch of Zealous Conscripts and Thundermaws in the hand, rather.
So Jeff has no flash guy here, as he does try to hunt match the Fells for the turn. So that is a good Mortars target. The scary thing here for Jeff is he's got to put his shields down to cast that Huntmaster, and if he puts the shields down, a Wolfear Silverheart could come in. That card can win a game all by itself against his deck.
So there might have been a very strong argument for Jeff last turn to have used a Searing Spear on one of Michael's Arbor Elves.
Slow down his production a little bit.
Well, you have to tap out at some point. And is he really going to produce a better Searing Spear target than those Arbor Elves? I mean, he's been missing land drops.
You see another Mizian Mortars drawn there for Michael to go along with a Thundermaw Hellkite and it's a Conscript, not a Domri. So 5 red cards.
A lot of Mortars.
Yeah, all those Mortars. So let's see if Nyberg's going to go for the Thunderball. Hope for the best. if he's just going to attack with the Arbrels, what does he want to do this
Let's
turn?
see.
It's like walking into your home when the lights are off.
Yep.
Anything could be in there. Scary. Scary. Maybe that's just how things are at my house. I don't know.
So, yep, we're going to tap Stomping Ground a bunch of times. We're going to make 5 mana in the total here and try to go for a Thundermaw Hellkite.
Snapcaster Mage Syncopate says, I don't think so. All right, so Jeff makes a good turn there for Jeff.
Yeah.
You see a Huntmaster, Is It Charm over there. Snapcaster going to come on in for 2. Searing Spear in Jeff's hand as well. He just needs to make sure that one of those big threats is not resolved.
I would go after his mana creatures big time right here.
Yeah. See mana getting tapped. There's a Huntmaster that fells.
He's got an Is It Charm and a Searing Spear, and I would happily get one of those mana creatures out of there. I don't think that Searing Spear is getting any better, particularly now with Huntmaster in play. You're covering most of the things you'd be worried about with the Searing Spear.
All right, so it looks like we are in agreement. Is he going to use a Charm or a Spear to do this? That's the question. All right, he's going to use a Charm to take care of that guy. Pass the turn back. So no overloaded mortars. If Michael were to draw a land, which he would have done, I guess he could have just Is It Charmed that, to be fair. But you do see those 3 copies of Mizzium Mortars that Michael is more than happy to cast to get out of his hand. So we're going to start here with 1. Take care of that Huntmaster that fells. That thing's got to go, says Nyberg. See if he wants to cast another Mortars here. None of the other targets are all that great for Mortars right now.
And Michael's got some light to play with. There's no rush. Might get a little bit better.
You see he's thumbing. He's thinking maybe I Mortars that Wolf token, get in for 1, start trading 2 for 1 damage. I kind of agree with you. Is he going to take care of Snapcaster Mage? There isn't really much of a rush. As you said, he's at 16 life. Jeff's going to draw a card here. And while the Mortars, I personally feel, aren't great in this matchup, I don't think they're worth trading a Snapcaster Mage with. I think we can do a lot better with that. I'm going to come across for 2 here. Searing Spear going to take care of the Arbor Elf. Jeff just with a land in his hand says go ahead. So
It was a big draw.
yeah, Gorkline Rampage is one hell of a draw, and that's going to resolve. So Nyberg with a 4/4 Trampler in play. Jeff going to draw a card. Mortars is going to take care of that. So we're playing a little top deck Magic.
Yep.
How the game was meant to be played, my friends. In comes the Wolf token. Let's see what Nyberg can do. It's a Strangleroot Geist.
Totally fine draw.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
The goose is loose. In for 2 we go. That's not to cast the Mortars on that Wolf token. Jeff draws a card. He's going to get in for 2 yet again, so they're trading back and forth here. Neither one of these players ready to slow down. Is Nyberg going to draw a card? Looks like he draws another Gorkland Rampager. Strangleroot Geist has come across again. Here's your Gorkland Rampager. Is that going to resolve? Counterflux says, I don't think so. Pass it back.
You know what card I would consider adding somewhere in Jeff's 75? I would consider adding Thragtusk. I would consider adding Thragtusk.
You like Thragtusk?
I think it could have a home in this deck.
It's a powerful card. He read his article on Star City when it was on the free side. He said that this is a deck that does not need Thragtusk to win. He says he understands why it would be good in the deck, but he said through his testing and his battles, two Star City Games top 16s, he has not ever once regretted not having Thragtusk. So.
Well, if he had a Thragtusk in here, the game would end on the spot. So
Well,
perhaps.
that's good to know, results-oriented man.
I'm just saying.
Appreciate that.
Well, it's not like, wow, this is a really narrow situation with the one where Thragtusk would be good.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm going to give Jeff a little credit and think that he knows that Thragtusk exists.
Sure.
As you're going to see Mizzium Mortars clear up the gang here.
Sure.
I don't think he lost a bet and isn't allowed to play with Thragtusk. I think he's choosing not to.
All right, so I think we're just going to have an Emissary here.
Yeah. Just a 2/2 for 2. Pass the turn back. It's just going to draw a card. Couple of lands now. What's this draw going to be? It's going to be a Think Twice. Hit 1. Not a Thragtusk. Sulfur falls past the turn back. Michael draws a card. Another Zealous Conscripts. Here comes Burning Tree Emissary. Flashback Think Twice here for Hoogland. See what he finds.
Looks like actually 5
Looks
lands.
like it's a lot of lands now and passes the turn back. Draw here. A Thundermaw Hellkite in for 2.
And now, Jeff said, Michael's in the spot where lands and spells are both pretty excellent draws.
Yep. Jeff drawing a lot of lands here. Michael draws a Strangerroot Geist, and as you said, yeah, all lands and all spells are good now. Enviable position for Nyberg. He's going to cast a Strangerroot Geist. In with the Goose, in with the Emissary. Jeff draws a card, Searing Spear. Plays a land, passes the turn back. Nyberg, there's a mountain. Finally something to do. Thundermaw Hellkite, what do you say? That's game for you, Mr. Hoogland. Michael Nyberg, 2 games to 0.
Quick beats.
Green-red aggro defeating Rug Flash. Without Thragtusk.
I understand in theory not having Thragtusk, but this deck's actually gonna. It seems to me like it's gonna struggle to actually shut the door. You know what I mean?
Well, that was the problem that I did find when I was testing this deck online. I wanted this deck to be good because it's unique, it's fun, it's got some cool cards, but I had what actually just happened to Jeff happen to me quite a bit, where you do trade 1 for 1 a bunch, and you try to get ahead or try to close the game out, and you need a Huntmaster or Yeva to do that, and there's no guarantee that you actually draw those cards because you don't actually have a great way to go about drawing cards in the deck.
And then what happens when your opponent just has a 5/5 on defense?
Yeah.
How does this deck break through that? It's 2 cards, basically.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's difficult for it to do. So
not having it in the main deck because you have this particular way you want to go about your game 1s, that's fine. Not having it in the sideboard to me seems not a choice I would make.
Sure. If you're of the Paul Reitzel school of thought where you should either be playing Burning Tree Emissary or Thragtusk, those are the 2 choices you're allowed to make. Jeff is breaking that rule. And I can definitely see an argument here for Thragtusk, but as I said, Jeff, a player who we have done a deck tech on, a player who did write an article on